Fix this camera. Hello everyone! Happy Thursday? I don't know what day of the week it is. Is it Thursday? Hello, how are you? Thank you for tuning in to my, what are we making? Veronica's. Tonight, so we're going to demo our new mould, which is a lovely new Veronica moulds. Absolutely buzzing because I use these quite a lot in my arrangements. Just double check my iPad to see for people tuning in. I should probably turn the sound down. In case, so sometimes like on my phone I don't get, well, I'm doing the phone tonight because I've got an overhead camera so I can switch it up. And yeah, sometimes like it doesn't come up on this, but I can get it on that. So just for making sure, and Adam's hiding away back in his space. I should flip it so that you can see, but please start at it so you don't want to see that. But thank you for tuning in. Oh, I've got some comments. Hello, and welcome. Buzzing to see what you think of your Veronicas. If you have placed an order up until Tuesday, they all went out today. If you placed orders from yesterday, I am cracking on with these. We've got a batch made, so we can only do obviously a certain amount a day because they need drying time. So can you hear okay? Yeah, that's fine. Adam was just fixing his headphones. Yeah, so if you have ordered up until Tuesday, they are winging their way to you today. So hopefully that means that they'll arrive by tomorrow if you've done track 24. Possibly, what's tomorrow? Friday, possibly Saturday for track 24. Oh, it's just come up on my phone, slow connection. Is it fine on yours? Just says slow connection. I think like we have a lot of internet problems in here, and I think it's because we have like a tin roof, and I don't know if that makes a difference. So if at any point, Adam's keeping an eye on it, but obviously let me know if it freezes. But if at any point, please let me know if you can see and hear. If anything goes wrong, we stop, we reconnect, and we'll see how it goes. But I'll just leave it a couple of minutes just so people can join in. But the plan for tonight is to make our Veronicas. So this is the one that we created just as a pure example. I have made obviously a dozen moulds using the real thing. So we wanted to try and get the best. Do you know what I mean? Trying to get the definition, so I don't know how well that this shows up. It's very rough because obviously for that quickness that we did, but to be able to see like these sort of things, plus they're a bit droopy, but I do have real Veronicas. They're 2 weeks old. It's a wee bit sad. But just to sort of show like the definitions from each of them. So we've got some real Veronicas so that I can show you obviously like for tones, for colours. What I've also done that was pure random, and I mean I've literally made these 10-15 minutes ago. I have started on this one. You can see that there's big leaves. Not something I was planning on doing because realistically in a cake I wouldn't put leaves in for this. But I thought let's wing it and let's make some leaves. So I have made a leaf veiner over the last 2 days for this. I don't know if this is something anybody would be interested in because realistically it's not something I would add to a cake anyway. But I thought actually not everybody does for cake purposes. So maybe that would be interesting, and I just thought we'll crack on. So in the last hour I've made a cutter and I've got my dehydrator behind, and I've just switched it off like 5 seconds ago before I went on because the fan noise. So hopefully they've dried enough, and we are winging it, as in life, innit? All good? So yeah, I'm just sorry if I'm touching this thing where I'm just saying. So hello to everybody who's came in, and we can go. I've got a front cam, my Archon mount thing. I've got a space and things, but I'm going to take it off and flip it up because I think that's going to be the best position. And I've got Adam at the side, and I'll keep an eye out for camera comments. Get any questions or anything at all, just, I say shout, but just type it, if you know what I mean. I'm going to flip this camera up, so obviously I'm not in shot. Give me just a wee minute to adjust, and then you can see my, let me arrange it pretty first, things. So, flipping this up. Oh, can I flip it? It doesn't, look at my ceiling, it doesn't work. We're going to have to go this way. Oh, I have cardboard all over my leg. So, apologies. Let's see, does this work? No, we're upside down. This is not working. Let's see. This better? Am I still upside down? Is that any better? I just need to adjust. Let's have a look. See, there's no zoom or anything on. Like. This way? This better? I do apologise. We getting there? Are we good? Obviously everything is flipped and it's in reverse because I've gone straight from live, but there is no options like to flip your cameras or anything. So obviously what I'll try and, oh look at this the cable. What I'll actually try and do is download the video, see if I can then like flip it, and then I'll upload it back for anybody to watch. But hopefully everything will make sense. We okay? I mean, this is just how we are in real life, but in it we just wing it. So I've just to show, this is our lovely little Veronica, and it's pretty packaging. So this, as I say, it's flipped over just now, so we just ignore this. I've got a bit of a delay things, but a wee gold sticker, and it comes as a 2-part. What essentially I forgot to do, so if you've seen like people have got little sort of wee dimple bits onto the mould, I kind of forgot to put that on, but what I have done is obviously create it in a unique shape so that when you go to put them together, you know, you'll essentially just be lining this up in this sort of shape here. Everything that we, like all of our moulds are completely handmade, so there is some kind of little imperfections and stuff. Everything is made from the real thing. So with this one was the Veronica flower, so obviously not this one, but you know, that's how these come around. Little bits of the flowers are falling off. But it is a 2-part mould, so we've got all of this detail within this mould. And if you have my previous tutorial that we had done, I think it's in filler and foliage, we done it as like one piece, but that doesn't really give you a lot of definition. And what I should say as well is, if you have any other brands of moulds for this, this technique will work, but please bear in mind that because this is my mould, you may not get the same results from other moulds. But technique, you should be able to use as a general overall for everybody. The paste that I've got, if anybody knows me, is the Flexi paste. You'll probably see that I posted into the group. Angela had some issues getting, it was stuck in customs, and I think it's possibly on its way. I've already sent her what I need to get put aside because this is like all I've got left. So I was a little bit panicked because I just love this stuff. So this is Flexi Paste and it's from Sugar in UK, and Angela Henderson is in the group. And what I'm going to do with this, you could use this straight from green. So it's like a plasticine texture, if that makes sense. I'm actually going to mix it up and make it a little bit stronger. This is totally fine to use in this mould on its own. But because I want it to sort of set hard, and if I was putting this in a cake, I'm mixing it with the Robert Haynes Sugar Flower Studio paste. So this is in white, and we're just going to lighten it up a little bit. So we're taking around, I would say, a 50-50 mix. Don't need that much. Do you know what, actually? We need a little bit because I'm going to demo the leaves, which wasn't in my plan. Oh, I've got nothing coming up, hold on. How do you get, just in case, I don't want to miss anybody's comments, but I've no idea actually how to.
Saying that she leaves the Flexi Paste on the plane along with her yummy new flower paste.
Alright. Oh, is that the one that, yummy new flower paste? Is flower paste is this something to eat? Does anybody ever eat flower paste? Hopefully the comments will come up. But yeah, I've got a 50-50 mix approx. I never weigh things. I'm just gonna ditch that to the side. We're going to mix these two together. I'm just seeing Michelle's lucky flower Flexi Paste. Is that because it's on a plane? I need a wee plane journey. I am fed up of being cold. Just mixing this paste. So we've just got the green Flexi Paste and white Robert Haynes in this. It was sticky. Mixy, mixy. So yeah, everybody who has ordered your moulds are on their way. Because
It says, don't eat the flower paste, but the colours are gorgeous.
we like colours. You know me, anything that I don't have to do, anything. Realistically, I don't usually cornflower my moulds or veiners, but these are all, they're all brand new. So you may find that your first couple of attempts, these are going to be quite sticky. So just put a little bit of cornflour onto your, either put it onto your paste or put it into the mould. You can always just like tap off. This one is fine because I've now used it a couple of times. You're going to start, I hate when you get stickiness all over your hands. You're going to start filling your cavities. But as I say, in the tutorial that I had done before, we rolled a sausage and we filled it in to try and meet the two sides. But as I've sort of developed, times change, I actually find it easier. See if you take little pieces of paste, and as much as this is sticky, this is something that you do want. If your paste is really dry, you're going to find it hard to mould into this. But you're going to take little pieces of paste. You probably already do this anyway. Cornflour in your fingers. But I'm going to fill the cavities in smaller sections. That way you can really get your fingers in and squish. Taking your time to follow the shape and sort of keep it within the kind of boundaries of that mould. I don't think I'm getting any comments on this. This little end piece here, so you can see here it goes out a little bit more pointed. So you're going to mould your paste into this shape. Now I've done a little bit extra, so we can just use your finger. If I hold this to the side and like slice it or kind of pinch it away, and then just go back and sort of fill in all of this cavity. Now all of this, you can see that it's like loads of wee bits. You're never going to see it anyway, it's in between. And I'm just kind of packing in, just making sure that it gets to that top level. I know how sometimes, like, when you're watching something, but you can get, if you swipe it to the side or whatever. But that's not happening for my iPad at all. Not happening with yours either?
Yes.
So I'm sorry if I miss any comments. That's fine. No, it's just like, you know how sometimes you can just swipe it to the side and it'll come up like nothing. I've got a video, but no. I'm on the app. Do you think that's the problem? Every now and then I'll just go out and refresh it. And with this as well, if you do find that you have overspilled in any way, using this as the FMM knife tool, you can always go back and just like use the tool to just tweak this back into the middle. That way, because it's plastic, you're not going to destroy your mould, you're not going to cut into it or anything. So just taking your time to just go around into these wee bits and just making sure that that's in. And I am going to go into the next side. I'm going to put this paste into my wee baggie. The next side, you're going to do everything the same. So taking that paste into little balls, you're just going to fill this mould. Squeezing it in where you can. Dip your finger in corn flour, just making sure it sticks. You can see like into this bit, hopefully this way. There's a bit of a delay, so things.
Facebook's messed about with live settings and groups, and it's really annoying.
Is that what it is? I'm going to be honest, I just hate Facebook these days. Reach as well, I was saying to Adam earlier, like in the group, some of the posts that I've been sharing, even just like the one yesterday or this morning sharing the live, and it says it's been seen by like 70 people. Not ideal.
It just says like there's 26 people watching just now. 0 post reach.
0 posts. The thing is, like, Facebook have got us hooked. Like, how else do we communicate? How else do you do the whole social thing? So again, like, oh, sorry, I go in and out of things. People know. If you come to my classes, I'm like, oh, I start on one subject and bounce to the other. This wee bit here, you can see that we've got too much. And again, just using that bit of paste, sliding it to the side. Or you could go in with your knife tool and just sort of smooshing it in. Being honest, this doesn't need to be perfect. Because even if you squish it together and it overspills, a wee pair of scissors, we can cut this away. Nothing has to be perfect for these. There's little detail bits down here, and it's totally up to you if you want to go into this and just fill this mould. Like so. But I think I'm kind of happy with it here. Maybe this bit needs just a little bit more paste. But I do find by just layering up little balls of paste into this is such a better technique than trying to do one long sausage in the same shape. You've then got so much more control over how much you're putting in and what we're doing. So we have our 2 sides filled. Having a look at the actual real Veronicas that we've got, you can see the thickness of this stem is, well, obviously that little bit thicker. I think this one's even that bit thicker compared to this one. Now, if you were possibly doing something like Cake International or anything like that, this is sort of a good idea to just look at the real flowers, seeing you know, how the stems are created. As I say, we have done some leaves for our flower as well. But as an actual wedding cake within my arrangements, I literally just use this. Because that's stuck, this section here is stuck in your cake. You've got some flower arrangements around, and this is never seen again. So your option for this, I would say, if you're doing this for a cake, I use a 20 gauge wire. If you actually want to do this for an arrangement, I buy these stem wires from eBay, and I'll share the link in the group. I'm positive I've done it many times before, but I just want to give a couple of options. So you've got 20 gauge for this, or you've got that thicker gauge wire as well. And I love these wires because you can totally bend them. They're so flexible, but they're nice and thick as well. They're really stable, and I'll use these predominantly now for all my projects. So things like rosebuds, or just rose heads, hot gluing them in, and I use this for all my cakes. And the thickness of this wire as well is perfect for cocktail straws. But again, if I was putting it in a cake, there's no need to put a massive hole in it, so a 20 gauge wire is suitable. I haven't done this one specifically with this wire, so just to be on the safe side, this has a plastic coating and it's not very good for grip. So I'm going to put some floral tape on it first, just to be on the safe side. This could be disastrous because I've never done it, but we're all about winging it. So I'm just going to take some floral tape and cover it in advance. If I was doing the 20 gauge wire, I wouldn't do this. And being honest, I've got a feeling this probably won't work either. But, you know, we're all about the realism.
Angela says that she's got the paper wrapped wires coming next week to Carolyn's.
Oh, fantastic. I know I think they've been out of stock for a while. Just giving it just that little bit of a roll on my table. It's a bit crap on this, rubbish on this end, so we'll just switch it to this end. So with this, what I would do is actually curve it to the shape of your mould. So on this, I like this one particularly because this is the deeper section. So you're looking to go around, I would say, a good 2/3 of the way up. And again, if you were doing this on your 20 gauge wire, I would bend this, which obviously bends much easier, and I would sit this into your wire like so as well. So just giving that little bit of a curve. So if this thicker wire doesn't work, we start again. Taking a little bit of edible glue, you're going to put the glue all over your paste, both sides, because actually you're going to get then a better connection. And if you haven't seen for my edible glue, we just use scraps of flour paste and mix it with boiling water, give it a little mix, let it dissolve, and voila, you have glue. And I haven't bought glue now for years. I'm going to lay this, I may even lay it here, and I'm just going to try and press this in. I'm going to take a little bit of glue and see over that tape, just to help my two sides bond. Move all of this out of the way. So you've got this wire, and as I say, for this 20 gauge wire, you would just do everything the exact same. You're then going to put your top on, lining up your shape. Can you see this okay, actually? I need to wait till the delay. We good? Just because there's that little bit of delay, so when I look at my screen. You're then going to take the shape, so following this, you're then going to press right into the middle of this. We're going to be wishful thinking that this works, or else we're starting again. What?
Cheryl says she'll catch the rats later.
Must be rest. So you can see, if just following the curve of this, you know where your bottom comes out, and you're just pressing this up. We're then going to try and open it up peel to reveal. So I've gone a little bit over on the bottom of here, and see with that knife tool, just go back in, following your little shapes, which is your little blossom flowers, and you can kind of cut away at this end. And sometimes as well, just giving it a wee squeeze is going to help pick up some of this detail inside and maybe take away a lot of this cut edge here. So far this is how we're looking, and we're just going to peel this back, and voila! Here is our Veronica. So glad that worked. Now on my mould you can see, because we'd used the real thing, there's tiny wee air bubbles. I am not bothered whatsoever, because in reality, see when this is dusted and it's painted, and we're going to see them, you'll just think it looks like the little pieces that are meant to be there. This bottom section here, I'm just going in with my fingers and I'm just pinching this down. But what do you think so far of this? Now again, in my previous video I went in to all of this sections and the other moulds that I had used, because we needed to define, and I don't think you have to do this for this, but if you really wanted to, you could take a pair of scissors. These are fantastic and they're listed on my Amazon, and like here that's just that little bit flatter, you could always go in at an angle and just give a little bit of definition. Using or snipping where the sort of texture parts are, you can then just put your scissors around and just give it a snip. Now on our example one, I didn't bother, so it's completely up to you, but this is how it looks so far coming out of the mould. So I really don't think that it needs much, and I think as well, just as an overall finished flower, you can get this done within 10 minutes. So it's totally up to you. You could leave this to dry. I'll just check in case I've missed anything. Just checking the screen, but I have to come out and go back in. What I was going to say, what do you think for the definition for this? Like the fact we don't have to do much. And I think like this in a cake is just that really nice filler flower. We are going to do ours in pink tonight, purely because the pink ones was my example flower. It's very sad. So I just wanted to sort of replicate that, but you can get them in pinks, purples, deep purples, whites. I do a lot of white and green flowers. So you could do the exact same technique, but instead of doing pink, you could do another colour for this. So just to sort of show like for texture, so here is like so this texture here, and then obviously it slims up to the top. And this one's just that little bit chunky, bit funky. I'm going to peel these wee pieces off. Sort of with this one, but so just to sort of show for this. But that is so far using our 2-part mould. So as I say, just filling this cavity up with little pieces of paste, and I definitely think that that flexi paste is what makes the difference, and it takes in all of this texture. And then just following it with the pressing for this. So that's the stem wire that we've used for that, because we're going to give it a thicker stem. Clean up June, stick everything back in my tool holder. So I'm going to just move ahead. You could leave this for overnight if you wanted. Just go check my things. So I'm just checking the comments. Angela, like doing the glue is a total game changer. So any paste that you're using, I've even done it with sugar paste, and I'll use the exact same glue. See, like on a cake, if I'm doing ruffles, glitter, whatever, I use that glue solution. I'm going to go into dusting our little Veronica. And I've got my tray. So as an overall colour, I'm going to be using grass green. You can also use dark green, especially for up at the tip. So you'll be able to see like these two tones match quite nice. It really depends on the look that you're kind of going for your overall tone. There isn't much in definition with these two. I'm going to use the darker green more so for my leaves. So looking at the stem, you can see that the stem on this is a bit lighter, but your leaves are just that deeper tone. So for me, it's in that. These two kind of match, so we can use both. But it's just looking at the real flower. So your stem on this is just that bit lighter, and then your leaves are actually quite dark.
Talking of stems, Janice says, I suppose you can make it smaller by just cutting the stem shorter.
You could, but realistically, if you were putting it in a cake, I wouldn't even go as wide as a stem wire. I'd just use a 20 gauge wire. You have much more control over basically putting a hole. There's no need for, in a cake, there's no need for a hole to be that wide when you could have a hole that wide. And then obviously you've just got less, what's the word? It's no less holes, but you know what I mean, like less damage to your cake. If you were obviously doing, you know, like a competition and you're having it in a vase, I would try and aim for realistic thickness. So I just wanted to demo this. But being brutally honest, our, you know, predominant things that we use sugar flowers for, I don't enter competitions anyway, but I do all of my work for cakes. We work in weddings, and so doing like this 20 gauge wire is just so much easier. Blocking that wire, obviously food safe at first, guys, but putting this wire into your cake is going to leave minimal damage compared to something that's chunky when you don't need it to be, because you're never in a cake that would be right into your base. You're never going to see anything anyway. So that's just my idea. Obviously arrangements are going to be totally different, but for a long stem I would never do something like this for in a cake. You would do something with this end. Does that make sense? I know I waffle, but sometimes it's hard to kind of get the words out. Moving on, I've got the grass green and I've got the dark green, but actually, so in my class at the weekend, we just done grass green, but I'm going to mix a little bit of the dark green in with this, just so we can get that wee bit more realistic stem. We're going to dust the full of the Veronica in green first. I'm going to turn it and hold it this way. We're taking that green from base all the way up, and that's going to give us that realistic undertone in the green. So just spin as you go. And tappy off the excess. So immediately you can see that the colour, does it go like with this? But the colour kind of comes up that little bit more natural. You could always go back in to the very tips of this with that darker green if you wanted to go deeper, and just dust up at this top section here. And tap off any of the excess for this. I'm just going to push my parchment. So see, like the good thing about the parchment, I just buy this from Booker and it comes pre-cut. When you're finished with your dust colours, you can just shake them back in. We need to set the colour on our green first, because if you try and put any sort of colour, whites, pinks, anything on top of this, what you'll obviously do is just blend your two colours together. So you need to set the colour first. In my little pot, we have just some confectioner's glaze. I keep it into a pot, and obviously you can see that it's dyed green, and it just because, you know, green dust, but it's absolutely safe to use. This stuff is so expensive to buy that if you can reuse and reuse, 100%. Plus, I only really glaze green anyway, so all the inside is just green particles. It's just the green dust. Going to dip inside, and I love these big tall, these are just drinking cups from B&M, but it gathers all your glaze inside. You want to try and spin and catch all of your glaze inside this. I need to cut this stem down a wee bit because I'm hitting my camera. Realistically, nobody needs that length of stem anyway. That's better. So I'm just turning it upside down, and I'll spin it into my pot, and all of that glaze is going to catch inside and not go on my surface. And if you do get it on your surface, rejuvenator, straight rejuvenator, and a dry kitchen cloth that's so it's got that texture on it, and it will take it away. We've all learnt that mistake. Let's see. Just annoying that the comments don't come up for this. By doing this, we're just going to let it air dry. You could get a wee fan. I'm just getting this to be nice and dry. And get a wee petal pad. Oh, don't do it near the dust. And I'm just drying this off quickly. So you can dip it in glaze, or glaze I would do 50-50 mix as well. It's a great wee technique if you need things to dry quickly. Hot flashes, get a felt. Oh, I've just blown the dust everywhere. Hot flush and I get a felt pad. Oh well. So we've got our dust. So you can see the colour in this. Mine is still that little bit sticky. But you know, time is precious and we'll move on. Colour wise, as I say, this is completely up to you on what you want to do for colours. The ones that I found matched quite good with the colours that I had. So this is Cosmos Pink, and this is by Diamond Colours, which is sugarcity.co.uk. And they make the I think it's platinum paste. So if you like platinum paste and you buy veiners and stuff from them, but it's diamond colours, and their dust and stuff are so reasonably inexpensive, and I do like their colours. So we've got Cosmos Pink. Again, you can do any colour, and I'm going to mix this with Snow White. Realistically, white is white. We don't care. And I've just got a little petal palette, paint palette, and we'll put, I never brought my spoons, so we'll just shimmy them out. So a tiny touch. Realistically, you don't really need much in the way of dust colours anyway. For this, we're going to take our rejuvenator, which I have lost. Oh, there's it. And for this, you're going to start with the palest colour. So going back to the example one that I've made, so you can see in this, it goes lighter up at the top, and then the flowers are darker in colour at the bottom. Now this is the same obviously for the real flower, so you can see, get edible glue into it, but you can see like up at the top here, you've got that little touch of a paler tone, and then as you go down, it's getting darker. This one is obviously darker as well, so you can see that as the flower is sort of dying away, it's actually going paler in colour, and this one is deeper. But it's still going up to that almost ombre, with leaving kind of almost like a third, or a quarter I would say, of green untouched. So each one is completely different, but it just lets you see going between them. So essentially for this, you want to go that top section, oh we're stuck, you want to go this top section here, I would say untouched in colour. So for this, we're going to start with our Rejuvenator. We're going to make it into a paint. And starting with the lightest tone. So you could even start with white. Even taking it into a next petal palette, paint palette. And a tiny touch of pink. Far too strong. So let's go into the next one. And let's take a lot more white. You could even just go straight white into your colour as well. So it really just depends on what you're looking for. You also want this to be quite a thick paint rather than a wet paint. Reason for this is it's then going to help that colour sit on the surface rather than soaking into your petals. All of this to make a pale white, a pale pink. Should have just started with white. I just want to show as well, I always test on parchment. So you can see that it's at that tiniest wee hint of pink into this. And you can see the thickness of my paint. So using these little bottles, I think they're also linked in that Amazon, which is in the guides. But you can just control by just doing little droplets rather than a big squirt. So we're going thick. Sticky again. Starting with either the bottom, we're just going in light touches, but go light onto, see those little sections where we've got the texture, and work your way up. So we're just going in, let's see, go here, and we're flicking this colour almost on the tips of where those little blossoms would be, and work that pale colour up. You can build your colour up, so just take your time. So you can see that I'm doing really light strokes, mostly to hit that top section of your little blossoms. Now again, referencing back to this, you can see the inside where you've got the little calyx bits in each of these little petals. So you can see that there is green showing through. So you can replicate that. And just take your time. We're starting with that lightest colour, which was just the Cosmos pink with white. And we're flicking that colour on. You'll even see it's a little bit blotchy and patchy on sections. Totally fine, because you can build up your colour. You can even go this way as well and just give it little flicks, because it's just hitting that top section. And then once you start to build up your colour, you can go in and just go in thicker again and just coating over what you've previously done. Like so. So we're starting with that pink, just the palest. And obviously with that Rejuvenator, it just dries in so quick. Hopefully this makes sense. Taking my time. But by sealing this pink, this green colour first, means that this pink is sitting on top, and it's obviously its own tone. If you didn't dip this in glaze first, this is just going to go like a green and pink mix. So I think like that's enough on the thing. So if you were doing this in white, you could leave it here. But because we want to go this deeper tone on the pink, let's go back with some dark pink. So for this, you could go straight in with just the pink on its own. Or again, you could lighten up the tone with that white. Now for obviously looking at our example one, we had the darker colour up at the bottom and then it fades up. So you've got that lighter tone underneath and then you're just going back over with that thick paint so you can see the thickness of this, the consistency. So a couple of drops of rejuvenator in and leaving this top section as well. Bits of pink in there. Anywhere for texture, add some pink. So anything that you feel streaky or anything, just go back. Even just going, can use an angled brush for this as well. This dries so quick. Using an angle brush so you can go into these wee textures and you can flick that colour if you want to be specific as well. Hopefully you can see this okay. So you've got that paler tone. I feel like I need a little bit more going up in the pale. And then you could always go back and blend with that green up at the top. And bring this down as well. So you've got that sort of ombre shade. Does that make sense? I know it looks a bit of a mess because I feel like I'm rushing to get this done. But the colours we've used was the Cosmos pink and white, just in a mix. Going with that paler pink first, and then going over, so up this top section here, we've got that lighter tone. And this is what it's looking like at the minute. Bored, Adam? Yawn. Sick of hearing my voice. So completely up to you. What do you think of this? So I find it such a nice, simple little flower, but it's so effective with that ombre green and with that pink. I'll see if I can come back into things. What do you think of this? That is our Veronica. I'm just going to clean this up a little bit. So it's totally up to you on this one. So you can see as well, we use the grass green on this, and by using that darker green, you can see the dark tone underneath. So it's kind of a good idea to show you the two shades. So for this one was just grass green that we dusted, and this one was what? Sorry, grass green, and this one was the dark green with grass green mixed in. So it's went with that deeper tone. And I actually find that this one does pop that little bit more. But this one's probably got a bit more of a pink kind of covering. But just to show the two different varieties on this. So grass green underneath and the dark green on this. Just going to move this out the way, and I'm going to go and check on my leaves. That would be helpful. I'm going to take my leaves out the dehydrator.
Jan and Joe both say that they love it.
They love it? Good. Honestly, I love using it in an arrangement. So we do quite a lot of this technique or this flower in whites. So if you did want to do this flower, you probably get the idea. Instead of doing the pink, you would just do everything in white for this. In the same way, so you're doing your green glaze in it, but just doing a straight over white dust, white paint on this, taking it halfway, or a quarter, what's that, about a quarter? Leaving a quarter, should I say. Look at the mess in my table. So I'm just going to give this a wee clean up. We're going to make some leaves. But again, if you were doing a cake, I would just leave it there. Nice and simple. And hopefully you get the gist of using the mould. If you do want me to repeat anything, please let me know. That is our... Just dry this off. Isn't it just? So just to sort of show again, so this is, oh look, I've got pink. Somebody's like, I'll steal a packet that's not went out yet. Somebody's getting pink. But yeah, that is just using our new Veronica. So 2 parts on the sides. As I say, just fill the sides up with your, what's it called? With the paste, filling it up. So yeah, it doesn't have the little holes in it, which I probably should have done, but it actually meant restarting the whole flower and getting another one, and I really liked the texture, so I've just went with the shape. So everybody who has ordered, except from them from yesterday, because that's what these ones are, will be flying their way, and I hope to see over the weekend, because you know how quick and easy this is. We hope to see so many lovely Veronicas on the feed. I'm going to show you how to do some leaves. As I say, I have totally winged this. We haven't obviously done anything in preparation except for this 10 minutes ago. But to give you the full effect of the Veronica flower, I wanted to do some leaves to show you how to do this as well. This is purely optional. This is the only part I would put in a cake for this. And as you can see, like, some of them have got bigger leaves, some of them have got little ones, so it's completely up to you. If there is a demand for it, I'll happily put these on the website, but I did only make them an hour before we started, because for some reason I just thought, why not? We're going to take that Flexi Paste and, what was it? Flexi Paste and Robert Haynes together. Just going to check I need to refresh my screen. So whilst I'm rolling it out, who has bought the Veronica mould? Who's making one at the weekend? I hope that it looks pretty simple enough. Everybody that used our mould at the weekend, we had a in-person class and we get such good feedback. They loved the texture, the fact that you don't have to then go back in with your scissors and snip away. It's just a case of, you know, mould and paint. And for the length of the time that we've done this, like, this is ready to use. So it's that perfect little flower. In my cutter set here, I've got a couple of different sizes because I was trying to replicate what's obviously on the real Veronica in this one. So you can see that there's some smaller leaves, and then we've got some larger ones, and then this one has got some even bigger ones as well. So I thought before we advertise them out, we'll give them a test run. May even find this big one is just too big for whatever it is that we're going to do. I'm going to cut out 2 of each, like so. And we're going to use 26 gauge wire. So that is just our little Veronica leaves. And we'll do some twiddles. So 26 gauge because these are fairly decent sized leaves. Oh, I can see that's glitchy. That's glitchy on my screen. Is that okay in yours? Isn't it funny how the internet in two different, like we're in the same place and yet mine's is glitchy and yours is fine. If it's glitchy, please let us know. It might just be my iPad because that is been actually playing up on me all day. We're going to put a twiddle on our leaves. And I'm going to aim for this to go around maybe 2/3 of the way. You can see on these that these have got quite sort of substantial cup. Well, they're sort of almost folded in half, these leaves, and they've got a big bit of a bend into them. So I feel like it needs a good bit of structure. So with this, we are looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5 to 5 centimetres in length for your twiddle, and that is on the biggest leaf. So here's a question: who twiddles and who groove boards? Who's fast and efficient and who's proper old school groove board? What is your technique? How do you wire your petals, your foliage? What do you do? And if anybody doesn't twiddle and wants to know how to twiddle, also let me know, because I've just realised like I've just got uploaded on and I'm happy to repeat. But if you have my online classes, I'm pretty sure you'll have got this technique down. No groove board? So let me see for this one. We're 4 centimetres on this medium. Honestly, I know like for Cake International, I think you're not allowed to twiddle. I don't enter competitions. I don't trust my travelling. I'd love to know like how I would do one day, but the thought of travelling from Glasgow to Birmingham with my sugar flowers, and I'm not allowed to use flexi paste. It's got to be pure sugar, which makes me think they would just smash, especially when I'm driving. I know. It just gives me the fear. I know obviously there's many people in here that do the competitions. Do you do the twiddle and cheat? I won't tell. Or are they a bit more laxed? I know that I think some judges are very, you've got to do groove board method. What I'm currently doing just now is just putting the twiddle on the back of my leaves. I've cut out 2 from each size just as a demo because I've already done a batch here. So realistically I probably didn't even need to do 6, but it's so annoying that I can't get comment. I wonder if I put it onto Facebook, like, you know, like the browser. No, I'm getting nothing. And see if I can log into Facebook this way. Oh, just tells me content is not available right now. So, I'm just moving these aside. We are going to bring over our petal pad and on our leaves, and I'm going to turn them so that the twiddle is facing the underside. then going to go in with your Dresden tool. So on our leaves, you'll see that it's got this serrated edge on this. This is a big one. You can see like the texture on this leaf. And we're just going to enhance this on just by using that Dresden tool and pulling this out. That then going to give you that bit of texture. And essentially you're just going to do that for every one. So going into that serrated edge with that thinner end, the flatter end of your Dresden tool, and just pulling this edge out. And then we'll do the same for the bigger one as well. So you can do it pretty quick, just flicking this edge. That's going to thin your edge down as well. So I've got our little leaf veiner. And as I say, if anybody is interested in this, I'm happy to put this up for sale as well. Now, because of our leaves have got that fold in them, we're going to give this leaf here a little fold, and that's going to help us sit it into your veiner. So you can see that nice texture. Popping it into the veiner like so. Taking your top and popping the lid down. And just giving it a good press. So you can see that that leaf veiner has taken on that shape. Taking it out, and I'm just going to give it a crease. And then essentially you can just lay it down. See, if you lay it down flat, it's just going to fold over anyway. Or you can lay it into some dimple foam, or just laying it flat, bend my wire, onto the table, and just keep a wee eye on this. And then just to repeat, giving this a little fold into your veiner. Giving it a press and taking this out. You could probably do the same with even just a standard rose leaf veiner. I just love that it's got all of this vein detail on it. It's quite a nice heavy vein. And obviously for this, it's completely random in the amount of leaves. So like down this section here, we've got 3, and up at this section here, we've got 2. And then even higher up, we've got 1. So just moving that aside. So that is our little leaves. Oops. So nice and simple. You can give them a little bit of a bend. We've got that flexi paste in there, and you would just then leave this to dry. So bringing over some parchment again, we're going to dust. So obviously I have done mine, I've put them in the dehydrator. It's holding their shape up quite nice, so they've been in there for around half an hour. They're nice and thin. And we're just going to bring back over those 2 colours of dust again. That's it. And we're going to dust our little leaves. So I'm going to use mostly the dark green. And we're just going to go in straight with that dark green. And I love the makeup brushes. See the little eyeshadow brushes? They just hold so much colour. But you're going to really just massage that green into your leaves. Turning it over, and we're just going to do the same on the back. But just that little bit lighter. So in the front it's heavier in colour, and then the back is just that little bit lighter. So this is just the dark green that I'm using, and this is by Fractal. Massaging that colour in, flipping it over and doing the back. And you're just going to repeat this for them all. Don't forget to flip over. We tap off for the excess. like so. So you can see when I'm filling in the colour, I'm just sort of holding it like left and right just to prevent it from snapping. And then tapping off this excess. I'm just going to do all of them because I may as well. So just in with that green, front and back. This one looks as if it's going to be a bit tricky. I might have to try and open it up, but it's got that bit of flexi paste in there, so it means that hopefully things won't smash. Oh, I have to split it. We'll toss that one. So we're just going in with that green. So we've got our little array of leaves. And then again, we're going to go back with that glaze. I don't know if anybody else does, but I think glazing your leaves is such an important thing to do. You're just going to dip it into the solution and just give it a spin again into the tub. But to see the definition, the glaze just makes your veins pop. If I hold it up, I don't know if you can see into the detailing of these leaves, into the veins as well compared. I don't know how well it shows, but like, look at that. It's like chalk and cheese. So I think glazing your leaves is such an important thing to do to pop those veins. So you can see I pop it into the glaze and then I spin it. And I do this for everything, like rose leaves, ruscus, the lot. So a couple of spins, get the air to it. And it's going to give that nice sort of shiny finish. Although these leaves aren't really a glossy. There we go. Now, another thing that you could do to make your stems more realistic as well is covering them in paste instead of your taped wire. Again, if you're through putting this into a cake, I wouldn't do your stems, but you could go in and just do like a sausage of paste and put it onto your wire. Now for this just now, I know I'm crucial on time because obviously it's dinner time and you want to get off. So I'm just going to do the taped sort of version for this. So we're going to start with those smaller leaves and I'm going to give them a bend at the base. And I'm going to take it up to here. Now you can give your little leaves a bend back as well. But we're just going to put this tape on. Taking it up and I'm just going to tape on. So the one that I had one small, but I've got an extra small, so I might just take it to the opposite side and put a little leaf on to here. I need to take my tape back up. Would it bring it down a little bit? They're not all at the exact same height, which is ideal. So we can go left and right. Oops, I just realised like I'm kind of off camera. It's the habit that you bring it closer to you. So taking this down a little bit, we're then going to go in with our next size. And for this one, we're going to go in the opposite direction. So we've got like a left and right on this one, and this one we're going to go to the front. And the opposite side, so on my previous stem, one of them had 3 leaves on it. So you could do one at this angle, taking it down a little bit, and do one at the next. Taking that tape down. And then I'm going to go further down on this one. We should have had 3, but I snapped one. I'm going in at the opposite side, so I don't know if you can see in this. So we've got left and right, and then we'll call it front and back, and then I'm going to go into the left again. And I'm just putting a little bend of my leaves at the sides here as well. So on the original one, it's got 3, so you would have 1, 2, and then your third here. But it's completely up to you. I think the 2 looks quite nice. What do you think of the leaves? Oops. Clean this up. And I'm just taking this down. And I'm taping all the way. And you can just go back and give some shape to your little leaves as well. Because it's got that flexi paste in it, we can put a bit of manoeuvring. But what do you think of the leaves? Is it a yay or a nay? Yes or a no? To adding that in. I think it looks so nice. And it makes it look as if it's a nice sort of finished stem. I'm just going to move this out of the way. So what do you think with this? And this is our little Veronica.
Brenda says lovely.
I'm going to see if I can get comments. Nope. Oh, what happened? Done something to view post. Oh, I was trying to touch my iPad and it's taken it off the screen. So what do you think? Are you yay to the leaves or is that a without? So here is our examples for this. So without or with? I think my screen's froze. It's still obviously in this, but is it coming through? On my screen I'm still at holding it.
No, it's still going.
Still going, that's good. I'll move all this out the way so that you can see. But hopefully that was a nice sort of quick enough little demo for you. But this is our little Veronica flower. And then this is our Veronica. We're at 2 different stages, that's so weird. I'm going to move this camera and I'll put it back to myself. Let's see. And then hopefully that way rotate your phone. There we go. We're back. I've got
Without you saying without reminds me of an optician.
I don't know what that means. I'll just come up. Somebody's at the door. So, oh, is it? Just to show, we have our Veronica that has no leaves, and then we have done the Veronica that does have leaves. And I actually really like this. But as I say, this wouldn't naturally go into a cake, but this in a vase, this into a stem arrangement, I think can look so nice. So just to sort of show up close, and you can see those veins that come in really nice. But that is how we create our Veronica flowers, and that is using our, it's under all my rubbish, with our new moulds. So if you have a new mould on the way to you, I'm checking in for homework. I want to see all the colours. Everybody's got to show so many colours. I want to see pinks, purples, the lot. But I hope you have enjoyed our little demo. if is that what we call it, tutorial sort of things. But yeah, that is our little Veronicas. This video will be saved into the group. I may download and flip it over because obviously it's in reverse, if it makes a difference. Because it's in a top camera, you don't really notice much of a difference, I don't think. But yeah, this is our Veronicas. Let me know if you have any questions. I will check back in with the group over the next coming days. Perhaps you've maybe got some questions as your moulds coming in, and I'm happy to obviously answer. But I hope that that was insightful and helpful for you tonight. But that is our little Veronicas, and I'll leave this for just a couple of minutes. But if there's anything else, let me know, and if not, I can go home for my dinner because we've not had our dinner yet. So, a nice wee Veronica flower with our leaves. So I will bid you good night. Thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to see what you make with your new Veronica moulds. So if you are interested in them and haven't yet purchased them, these are on our website. They're quite big moulds, quite nice and sort of heavy sort of things. And as I say, obviously this technique works with other moulds as well, but because we have demoed it on ours, you may have a little bit of different definition. So I can't wait to see what you make. I am going to bid you good night and thank you for joining, and I hope you like them. Bye.